getting inside the mind of your ideal customer from the marketing standpoint, but even from the coaching standpoint or whatever it is that you do, is allowing you to serve them better. Because again, if you think you know what someone needs versus really understanding what someone needs or what they're going through, you're going to be a lot more effective, right?
Welcome to Barbell Business. I'm Mike Bledsoe here with Doug Larson and Markus Gerszi.
Yep.
Today we are going to be interviewing Makena Sage, and we're going to be talking about how to get into the shoes of your customer. So it's a bit of a marketing episode. We're going to cover a bunch of mistakes that people normally make in every business, and seeing things. It's a big challenge to see something from your customer's perspective a lot of times. I know we've all had to deal with that and learn how to do it better. Mm-hmm. And Makena came and spoke at one of our mastermind events and took us through an exercise that, it brought me to tears. And then it also helped me to understand our customers much better. Mm-hmm. And so we'll be, if you stick around to the end of this, we're going to give you an opportunity to download that visualization exercise. So listen to this whole show. It'll give you context. And then we're going to give you a place to go download that audio. So it'll be really powerful. Real quick first, we have lost our Instagram account. So if you go to Instagram and search Barbell Business, there's an account on there that has, 13,000 followers.
Yeah, let us know if you find it.
Yeah. I guess.
If anyone has the access code to get back into it, text it to me.
Yeah. So somehow we've lost their account. We go into all sorts of details. We had to start a new one. So go to Barbell Business Podcast, search that, follow the new Instagram account, please. And that's where we're gonna be posting new stuff. So.
And we're going to be doing live video on Instagram on that new account starting next week.
Yeah, So we're only doing Facebook Live we're going to start doing Instagram Lives for all of our shows. Mm-hmm. But the reason we're doing Facebook Live is just because there's 6 followers on our new Instagram account. It's just kind of pointless.
All 6 of us.
We're the only ones.
So make sure to go check that out. All right, let's dive into this. Makena, what got you into knowing how to get into someone's shoes in the first place? Because I think that sometimes there's a distinction you were sharing before is like when you're interviewing a business owner about their potential customer, they go, "Oh, I think my customer does this," but that's not the optimal way of viewing the situation. How did you get to where you can see it the way you see it now?
How did I get there? I think it's just practice. And even I think everybody runs into our default is always going to be being in our own point of view, right? It's always going to be, seeing things from our perspective, speaking in our voice. But what you learn as you're in marketing and over time and with practice is that usually what you think is going to work isn't actually what's going to work. You can think you have the best idea in the world. I've heard many business people say this, like, I've got the best idea in the world, and then they launch it and it doesn't really go. The more you go and you either speak to your ideal customer and interview them or, do surveys or just do these practices and these exercises that I'll share with you to get yourself in their minds, even in your imagination, the more powerful your marketing is going to be, the more effective it's going to be. And so it's just a practice and it's a constant reminder.
Yeah, one of the things I want to ask you about is you come from growing up, your parents were coaches, and they still are. And you grew up in that coaching environment, coaching. So how do you think, I have my own perspective on how coaching and marketing, they've influenced each other heavily, and being a better coach has helped me be a better marketer, and being a better marketer has made me a better coach. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely. Yeah. These worlds are so, I think, intertwined because they are so related and they do impact one another. I think that, going even further back beyond practice and marketing, having that coaching background, having worked with people or been around that work growing up and transformation, I learned kind of the psychology piece and how to get into people's minds, and not in a manipulative way, just in understanding what drives people, what moves people, and that is emotion. People are emotional decision makers, and so, I think just having that background, there was a lot of kind of that intuitive understanding of that, and then that really tied into the marketing piece. So when I started getting into copy and marketing, they just went really seamlessly together. And most of my clients are in the personal development and health and wellness spaces because, again, I just find that there's this great intersection between the two. And your question was about how
I've seen, coming from a coaching background, and I started studying marketing, I found that the better I got at marketing, the better coach I became. Because through these marketing exercises, I was basically practicing my empathy and learning how to get into my customer's shoes, who's also my client's shoes, and now I'm better understanding my clients, and so I can serve them better. And so for me, the line from being marketing to someone, selling them, and then serving them, there used to be like this very clear line, and now for me there is no line. It's like marketing and sales is coaching to me. I'm like coaching this person into making a better decision, which might be coming into the gym and training. This is something that I know is going to be good for them, and so I'm coaching them to reaching their goals. And part of that just starts with the first time they land on my website. That's an opportunity for me to coach somebody who's not necessarily paying me money yet.
Totally, yeah. So, yeah, what I would say about that is that, like, you basically hit the nail on the head right there, which is that, getting inside the mind of your ideal customer from the marketing standpoint, but even from the coaching standpoint or whatever it is that you do, is allowing you to serve them better. Because again, if you think you know what someone needs versus really understanding what someone needs or what they're going through, you're going to be a lot more effective, right? So I don't actually see sales and marketing. There's kind of a sleazy connotation for some people with sales and marketing, right? They're like, oh, I don't want to sell, or I don't want to market to people. And I find that is because maybe they've had a bad experience, or we have kind of the used car salesman like thing in our minds, right? But truthfully, if you think about when you buy a product or service and you get amazing results and it changes your life, it's like, you are so grateful that you bought that product or service, right? And that person was able to speak to you in such a way or market to you in such a way that you were like, you took that action and signed up with them, right? If you sign up for a gym or you sign up with a trainer and they, get you in amazing shape and that was like a pain for you before, then that's like you're serving them. So as the marketer, as the person who's selling the product or service, it's so important to be able to understand how to make that communication and understand that you are giving them a gift. If you really believe in your product or service, and if you really understand what your ideal customer wants, then by marketing to them more effectively, you are giving them the gift. Think about how many people at, beginning of the year are like, I'm going to get in shape, I'm going to do all these things. And then, they drop the ball a month into the year or something like that, and they don't actually reach their goals. That's a pain for them. They're upset about that. They're up at night thinking like, I wish I, fit into my jeans, or I don't want to go on this vacation because, I don't look good in a bikini or whatever that is. And if you can really understand that.
Every time I step out of the shower and look at myself in the mirror, disgust.
I mean, for some people, that's the reality, though, right? Like they're in so much pain, and so understanding where they're coming from, being able to speak to that and market to that, not only makes you a more effective marketer and able to sell your services, but also makes you, like you said, a better coach or trainer or whatever it might be, because you can help them. You can just put yourself in their shoes and help them get the results that they really want. So.
It seems to me that people that don't understand sales and marketing, they're very new to that field. They remember the really bad sales and marketing, and then that's what they identify as sales and marketing. And all the really good sales and marketing, it kind of just goes right over their head, or they don't even recognize it as sales and marketing. If they go into a retail store, or they come into a CrossFit gym or whatever, and the person is very attentive, very, very present with them, helps them, asks them what they want, and figures out a very simple solution to help them with their problem, they go, oh, this person cares about this person cares about me, they understand where I'm coming from, and they're going to help me. Oh, good. That doesn't count as sales and marketing. That just counts as someone just doing it the way it's supposed to be done. But it is sales and marketing.
Like that's customer service.
That's just good sales and marketing.
Yeah.
That's right, and that's what it's supposed to look like.
Right.
But it almost doesn't count. So people still have this negative stigma around sales and marketing because you mentioned like the used car salesman. It's like the classic example that most people use for bad sales and marketing, because that car salesman doesn't give a shit about you. They're not asking you like what you really want out of this experience and what's really in your budget. They're trying to just push the most expensive car that you can afford, or maybe even not afford, and they're trying to force you to buy it without giving a shit about you or your situation, etc. So getting into the customer's shoes, so to speak, is really finding out, what drives them, what their real underlying motivation is, empathizing with their situation. And then once you can understand what someone's situation is, then you're much more likely to be able to help them the way that they want to be helped.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, that's why I call my brand Online Marketing with Heart. Is it's about getting into the minds, yes, but also the hearts. Again, people are emotionally driven. We are emotional decision makers, and so the more you can really understand them from that perspective, the more you can market to them. But again, it's a service to do so if you really believe in your product. So kind of putting those bad experiences out of your mind and maybe challenging yourself to even think about what has been a good, all of us have had good buying experiences. We love to buy things. Like, that's human nature. We love to buy things that we love, or experiences that actually, transform us in some way. And so if you think back for yourself, like, what was an experience I've had where I signed up for an event, or I joined a gym, or I worked with, whoever, or I bought a piece of clothing I really love, and, I had this incredible buying experience, and then I loved the thing that I bought and it transformed me. Like, that was sales and marketing that got you there. Like, something happened. You didn't just out of the blue, like, wake up and dream that this product existed and go find it. Like, there was some sort of sales and marketing that happened there. So, so it's absolutely a service.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys remember having this experience as a gym owner and selling gym memberships, and bringing in new people, how people would be, hesitant, but because you really cared and you really helped them understand the value of how this can really affect their life, much more so than this is not just a training program. This is going to help you overcome something really important to you, and that's what we do. Not to mention social, and like, there's so many benefits and side effects to being a part of like a great gym. And when you get someone to understand that, they come back to you like 6 months later, they're like, I'm so grateful that you helped me understand that, because nobody else did that. Now my life is completely different. And it's like, I'm thankful that you helped me understand that, because everyone else is just pitching me stuff, and that turned me off to it. And then you sat down and you got to know me, and you understood where I was at, and you met me there, and then you educated me forward, and you gave me the tools in order to actually get what this means to me, so that I could make a great buying decision. And like you said, that feels awesome when you make a great buying decision, when you feel, after you've been, using the product or the service, that you're almost grateful to the salesperson for having given you the opportunity to understand it well enough to make that decision. And in our industry, I think that's such a big opportunity and such an important part of like what we do every day. We, as a CrossFit gym owner, you are massively changing people's lives. You're helping people not just become fitter, healthier, stronger. You're making people, emotionally stronger. You're making
More
people better,
confident.
more confident, better leaders, better parents, teaching your kids about nutrition. You're giving people like a social, like, epicenter of positivity and all these great things in your world. And if you can really like digest that, and then translate that into how you're going to sell someone, or how you're going to now market to someone based on that, and like what that really means to your people, you're never going to sell another membership in your life. It's just going to be a matter of like, hey, I know this can help you because we've talked about what you need, and let me just help you understand this. And all you're doing, if you're just thinking about the sales event itself, like we're sitting face to face, you're going to make a decision, that's one thing, but it starts way before that. And with your marketing, you just have to look at it as the same thing. It's just a little bit further back in the buyer's journey, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think at every stage, whether it's marketing, copy, online, or anything you're doing marketing wise, or that in person or on the phone sales conversation, depending on how they do it. Like you said, if you start to feel like, if you're the person doing the marketing or the sales and you start to feel kind of icky or like pushy or salesy or something like that, something in you, your attention is on yourself. It's not on the client in that moment. Because again, truly, if you know that your service is going to help someone, and if you're really sitting there and present with them and understanding what it is they're going through and what their goals are, there's none of that icky feeling. That's like your old association with what marketing and sales is, or what somebody else told you it was, or a bad experience you had. But again, if you're just really present with someone and you're just like having that conversation and knowing that you can support them, then it's effortless. Then it doesn't even feel like sales or marketing. And you can get that even if you're writing copy for your website or doing something for online. You can have that same feeling. And that's, again, it's a practice. And that's what we're going to talk a lot about today, is like, how do you get into that headspace.
Yeah. Let's take a break
right.
real quick. When we come back, we will get into that.
Hi guys, my name is Aaron Brewer. I'm the owner of 734 Strength and Performance in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Before starting the Barbell Logic system, struggles that we were dealing with here at 734 Strength was exposure mainly. It was real difficult to get people to our gym. So that was when I really started to realize that we needed to make a change. For the longest time I thought it was maybe our location, but just started to dig a little bit more and then realized our website wasn't as good as it should be. We weren't doing any type of marketing. So just started to dig into those points. So they kind of got me to the point, to the break point where I talked to our staff, talked to my wife, and just realized that I needed to make a big change, because if I didn't, the gym was going to continue to go nowhere. For about 2 years, we were spinning wheels. We weren't really gaining any new members. We were at about 60 members for 2 years. So that was just putting stress on the family. It wasn't allowing us to buy new equipment. It wasn't allowing me to pay our coaches here like they should be paid. So that was the break point. I basically just said, look guys, I hope you guys are on board with me. I'm going to make a big change here. And that was right when I started to really look into the Logic system, and I knew that that's what I needed to have done, and that I needed to sign up and get the Logic system working here in 734 Strength. Implementing Barbell Logic into 734 Strength and Performance has been really painless. It took about a month to get things going, but during that time I was in constant communication with the design team, the marketing team. The website is really easy to navigate, really easy to do updates with. Infusionsoft has been a little easier than I anticipated. And just overall, the people that you're going to work with are, some of the best in the industry. So as long as you put your faith in them and just know that they're going to help you because they actually care about you, they want your business to do well, implementing this into your gym and into your box will be very easy. The benefits and the results of the Barbell Logic system have actually been pretty unbelievable. We've been running the system now for about 2 months, and we've gained 20 members within that 2-month span. We've also have been able to get a lot more exposure to our gym. We are getting 2 to 3 new inquiries each week, so the exposure has definitely went up. I think the main reason for that exposure is just the website that the Logic system was able to develop for us. It really sets us apart in a field where CrossFit gyms are continually popping up. So it allows us to build relationships with our potential members before they even get to us. So that's been huge. Automated ebooks, automated emails, the Infusionsoft marketing system. It's allowed me to step away and really devote more time to developing the business, developing programs within our gym, spending more time with our coaches to make sure that they're happy. It has allowed me to decrease my stress levels because I'm not trying to write emails all the time. The Infusionsoft system will take care of that for you. There's emails that get sent out daily that I'm not even aware of that are getting sent out. These emails are amazing too. I've given continual compliments on the emails that our current members have received, our potential members that also are just blown away with the professionalism that we've been able to present them. I wish I would have started this a year ago if I would have known about it. So if you're even thinking about it, if you're kind of on the fence going back and forth, I would tell you, if you want to start to develop your business now, sign up now. Don't continue to wait. Find a way to implement the Barbell Logic system into your business. I can almost guarantee you, just from my own personal experience, that you're going to be blown away, that you'll be like me and wish that you would have been able to start it sooner. Because like I said, as soon as you start it, things are going to start to improve.
We're here with Makena. We're talking about basically how to get into the shoes of your customer. How do you? I know that I'd say pre-2013, you asked me to try to think how my customers thought or to feel how my customers felt. That would have been I could kind of grasp thinking the way they were thinking, but feeling the way they were feeling was extremely foreign to me. In fact, it felt dumb, stupid. I just. Yeah, I did not value it at all. So,
Yeah,
I imagine there's plenty of other gym owners who are the same way.
I think the thing is, like, it may feel dumb or stupid, but the truth is you want to get more members. You want to help more people. And so, like, be willing to do a kind of dumb, stupid feeling exercise and like try it out. And so, what that looks like, and I think we're going to do a little recording that you'll have for people, but so I'm not going to go through the whole exercise right now, but what that looks like is like literally closing your eyes and imagining your ideal customer. And when I say ideal customer, I mean like the one person that you would like to have 1,000 more of those, members, or however many more of those members at your gym, or whatever it is that you're trying to sell, have them buying it. So imagine one person in front of you, and you close your eyes and you almost like put yourself into their body and open your eyes as them and go through a day as them. Like what are you thinking about when you wake up in the morning? How do you feel? Like what are you doing on an average day? What are you stressed out about? And the really important questions to be asking are like, what are those things that are like really stressing you out, like keeping you awake at night? And then what are the things you really, really want? Like, what are the things that preoccupy you as this person? And so that is basically the exercise. But, I'm saying it in super brief here. There's a whole like guided visualization I do around this, but it's walking through a day as this person and being in that long enough to feel and really understand where they're coming from. Because here's the thing, when you know that, what you're going to do is you're actually going to write down in their words, you're going to write down, what am I struggling with? What is keeping me up at night? And you're going to write down, what do I really want? What are those things I love or that I'm, aspiring to that are also preoccupying me? And the important thing here is when I do this exercise with people is they keep switching back into their words. They keep going, oh, they probably want this. And they talk to the collective, like they is all their ideal clients, right? But we're being very specific here. We're choosing one person and you're being that person. And so you'd say, okay, what's keeping me up at night, or what am I preoccupied by? I'd be like, I don't fit into my clothes anymore. I have this whole closet full of clothes and I don't even fit in it. I don't even recognize myself. Like, how did I get to this point? I have, a family holiday coming up in Mexico and I don't want to be seen, in the warm weather because I can't wear any, I just don't want my body to be seen. So whatever those things are, you're going to literally write those statements down and you're going to start to develop this list of pain points and this list of like aspirations. And you can do this with everything. I mean, you could do this with objections. So, take it a step further. Once they hear about your gym or whatever it is you're offering, like, what are the objections that come into their mind? So you imagine them seeing your gym, the website, or walking in, and like, what are the things that they're like, oh yeah, but what about this? Or I don't really want to sign up because I don't have the money, or I've signed up for gyms in the past and I've never stuck with it. So whatever those objections are, again, you write them down. So you can go through this exercise with anything around marketing, like anything you're doing, putting yourself in their shoes, and then you're going to write those things down. And then you're going to use that as you're writing copy, as you're in conversation with people. Those become really powerful ways to connect, because the minute someone hears you say their words back to them, and not in, again, a manipulative way, just in a like, I get what you're going through way, then they're like, oh, like they get it. Like, imagine the objection is, I've signed up for gyms in the past and I've never stuck with it. So you go, I know that you've probably signed up for gyms in the past and you haven't, stuck with it, or you've kind of fallen off the wagon after a little while. So here's what we do to make sure that you stay with it. Here's what we do to make sure you get the result. The minute people hear that, it's like, oh, whoa, they know what I'm going through, right? So it's a way of serving your current customers better, and it's a way of marketing more effectively.
Yeah, I think after the mastermind that you spoke at, I know that several of the attendees, we had quite a few gym owners at that one, who actually took the exercises that you provided us and went back. And I did the same myself with my gym at the time, and went through the exercise first of, I'm going to try to get my own like self into their shoes, and you make your list and you're like, oh, I totally got this down. But then the second round, which of actually going and interviewing these people and asking them the questions, and you're like, I was not as close as I thought I was just such an like eye-opening thing for, I mean, I already understood the concept, and just going through these exercises, you realize even though, we think we get it and we've made progress, the assumptions we make are still like there's a lot of ground to be covered between what you think and like the assumptions we make versus what's actually happening when you interview someone. You get their actual language and what you had spoken to about interviewing them and recording and actually then transcribing this and seeing the words on paper and extracting that language for marketing or for marketing copy or for sales conversations was just mind blowing. I know that several people took it and implemented it, and just it completely changed the game for them.
Amazing. Yeah, that's stage 2.
This is part of the reason that testimonials and client success stories are so powerful, because it quite literally is their words, right? You don't have to translate or like project on like what somebody wants. Like they're just straight up telling you on video like what their experience was like, what they wanted, what they thought was going to happen before they showed up, what happened when they did show up, and then kind of what they're looking forward to in the future. And then it makes your job as a marketer much easier.
Yeah, you hit on stage 2 basically, or they can both be done, together, which is, so there's the visualization exercise, there's trying to put yourself in their shoes, and then there's actually going out and interviewing people. So the way you do that, just kind of loop back around to that, is you want to interview your best customers. So if you have 2 or 3 people you've worked with that have gotten just like stellar results, you want to go out and ask them, hey, can I sit down with you for an hour and have a, conversation, or get on a call and have a conversation with you? I'm doing some research for, whatever, however you want to phrase that. And, then you record that call, like you said, and you transcribe it, and you ask them the same kinds of questions that you're going to be going through in the visualization exercise. Similar, you shift them a little bit, but then you get the real answers. Right now, you can actually go back in the future. Yes, you can use the answers they gave you, but you can continue to do the visualization exercise now, knowing even more what they're actually dealing with. So the reason the visualization is powerful is that in the future, and then, especially once you've done the interview process, when you're making any marketing decision, or when you're sitting down to write copy, or when you're sitting down to do anything, if you start to feel stuck, again, it means you're in your own mind. It means you're in yourself and you're not in the mind or the heart of your ideal customer. So in that moment, you go, you know what? I've interviewed some of these people. I know what they're actually struggling with or what they've told me. I'm going to go picture that I'm them and that I'm reading this copy, or that I'm, interacting with this piece of marketing, whatever that might be, and see how you react as them. So you get better and better and better at being this ideal customer. And you can also do things like surveys and informal things on social media and things like that, but you're going to get so much more from those people who have gotten amazing results from you or working with you than you will from sort of the general. They're good for different things, but I'd say for this particular exercise, the deep dive is really, really valuable. Yeah.
I found after we did that exercise, that visualization, a few days later, I got on the phone with somebody who was basically our ideal client and talked to them for a whole hour. And it just, that exercise really helped put things in enough of a perspective for me to ask the right questions when I got them on the phone. Because prior to that, I might have had a good conversation, but this kind of was like, oh yeah, what's it like? I didn't ask them what's it like to be you specifically, but I spent an hour just asking them a lot of questions where I was like, oh man, I see these are the types of things they're working with. I was able to imagine what it was like to get out of bed and move throughout the day, but then when I got them on the phone, they were talking about, their personal relationships, like when they're at work, what's it like to, talk to this girl that they were, that they wanted to ask out, but they didn't have the confidence to ask them out because they weren't, in very good shape or something like that. I was like, that didn't even occur to me as a thing that this person might be going through. And then I found that out. I was like, oh, well, and when I come home at night, my mom wants to feed me this bad food. Like I feel guilty to turn it down. I was like, oh, didn't even think that would be a thing. But these are the types of things that are like in the fitness industry that if we think about it, we can actually help our potential customers and our customers overcome, these things, knowing that, this kid who might be overweight, he's having to deal with like guilt and things that has to do with his relationship with his mother. It's not because he doesn't know that he shouldn't be eating donuts. That's the issue. He knows that, but he doesn't know, he doesn't know how to cope with this part of his life. And if you can find out those little things, that can be extremely powerful.
Yeah, I think in the fitness industry, I imagine that a lot of things are focused on, get six pack abs and have these kinds of results. And that's all great. And people want the aspirational piece too. But like, it's also to show that you understand where they're coming from. And those little nuances can be so powerful. And the other piece I wanted to touch on there is that another kind of common mistake people make, whether this is in a sales kind of conversation or writing copy or doing something like that, is it all has to do with getting back inside yourself versus the ideal customer. Is we get so focused on the features and what's sort of great about us or how we compare to other people, and all of that is secondary. That's like if you're writing a sales page and like a long form sales page online, the features, what's included, how you compare to other things, it comes like halfway or more down the page. You start with the pain points to show that you understand you have a headline that's compelling, right? And then you start with the pain points to show that you understand where they're coming from. And then you typically share a little bit of a story component or something that they can relate to. There's some credibility in there. And then there's the benefits, what they're going to get, right? And then only after all that, and there might be a testimonial, and only after all that are you sharing the features, what's included, the curriculum, however that looks. So I'm using an online, long form sales page as an example, but this format applies to marketing across the board, to a video, to whatever. You don't have to use it every single time, but it's really powerful to just remember that it's not about like your pricing. It's not about, what kind of widgets and bells and whistles you have on whatever it is you're offering. What people want to know is that you understand what they're going through, and you can help them get the results they want, and that same thing on the objections, that like if they have an objection, you can meet that and show that you understand and have a way to help them overcome it. So
it's funny you bring that up. I find that when I talk to gym owners, one of the things that they point to is they're quick to jump to pricing being the reason they're not getting more members, or they're justifying they have to charge very little because of what's going on around them. They're not really focused on, I think most people aren't even considering that there might be something else going on that's keeping them from getting more members. And for some reason, they want to focus on the price. Do you have any suspicion on why people tend to focus on the price and not on other aspects of their marketing? And by the way, pricing is part of your marketing.
It is. And pricing can be a factor, but it's often not the biggest factor. Because if you think about, if you see a product or service or something that you really, really want, and you're like so gung-ho about it, you are going to find the money to buy that thing, right? Like people find the money. And if you're like, we're talking about people getting their bodies in shape, like this is one of the biggest pain points for a lot of people and one of the things they want most. So if they really, really want that, and you're providing a service that they actually really feel can help them achieve that, price is going to be like the least. And gyms aren't usually that expensive either. Like it's not like they're spending, hundreds or thousands of dollars typically. I don't know, but typically, it's not like $1,000 a month or something to be a part of it, right? So that's typically not the objection, but it's the easiest thing for people to point to. And maybe the reason people think that's the case is it's often what people will say is the objection.
Right.
But that's not actually the objection. They don't even know it's not the objection.
Right.
They point to pricing, saying, you know what, it's too expensive, because that's the easy way out. Because that's the thing that they go, oh, I don't really know why I don't want to sign up. But obviously they're not sold on it in some way. And they go, oh, I just can't afford it. It's like an easy out for them. And they don't even know they're doing that. So people start to buy into the idea that that's actually the case when it's not actually the case. If they're saying pricing is the reason, there's another reason. And you have to get to that and go, where am I not meeting them in such a way that they're like so excited to sign up, right?
They're just not getting the value. I think it always comes back to that, especially when you're selling a gym membership. If you've like self-commoditized yourself with your process and your language and what you're presenting, then yeah, it is expensive. You just look like a really pricey gym membership. But when you connect with people authentically and you really, like I said, meet them where they're at and then bring them forward and have them actually get it, then it's what you're doing is priceless. We talked about this many times on the show, where when you really connect with someone and they feel, oh, this is actually going to solve my problem, which, a couple $100 a month, several $100 a month. And that's why you have personal trainers who can sell $1,000 packages, no sweat, because they are just able to connect with their person's why and have them actually get how what we're going to do is going to impact much more than just getting some abs. But it's like you're going to achieve something about feeling better about yourself, and you're no longer going to have, that back issue that's keeping you from playing with your kids or whatever it is. And it's whether we're talking about the sales communication, we're talking about the marketing communication, that's all it is. It always just comes back to someone actually getting it. And the exercises that you present, I think, are so brilliant because people will ask constantly around, well, just tell me the marketing stuff that works. Like, what should I put in my ad to make it work? I'm like, you should be asking questions around who your client is and what you can do for them and what they're actually going to get and care about. That's what's going to work, is
Totally.
just communicating something that they care about. And it's such a big, I think, opportunity for gym owners to just understand that concept, because that helps you not just with sales, it helps you with retention. We're in the relationship business, and we bring, as a CrossFit gym owner, something that's so much bigger than just the training. People are like, well, people are here because the training. Well, that's all I should worry about is just the training. It's like, no, that's just a part of that's just a piece of your product. People are there because of an experience about how you make them feel, how the community makes them feel, how they feel like knowing they're doing something positive for themselves, and that they used to hate going to the gym and now they love going to the gym. It's their favorite part of their day. And they get to go there and see these awesome people, and we do events and we do all these things that I never thought I could do, and I'm now that guy, and that feels so freaking cool. Like, that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I thought of something else when you were talking about the pricing, is that if people are complaining that your prices are too high, well, first of all, they may not be the right customer for you, so that's fine. But if you're competing on price, you've kind of already lost the game.
Right.
Because a lot of people are going to go price compare, right? But then you haven't somehow met them in such a way that they, again, see the value, and the people are actually happy to pay or find the money or whatever if they see the value. And so an example of this, I worked with a yoga instructor for a while who was an amazing yoga instructor. He helped me get back into yoga. I hadn't been able to do it for years because of some back injuries. And that was great. And I would buy the sessions, and I worked with him for several months, and I got huge results. And I told him, look, this is something you're brilliant at. Like, if you marketed this differently, if you packaged it differently, and you said that you could help people with injuries, let's say back injuries or whatever kind of injuries, knee injuries, who haven't been able to exercise or do yoga, if you could say that in 3 months of this many sessions and this kind of work, that you could help them get back into, being able to exercise and do yoga and all these things again, not to mention getting in shape, and you package that, you could sell it for twice as much as you're selling these one-off sessions for, and bundle in some value and things like that. But it's like, people would be so happy to pay for that because of the way it was positioned. But so many people get stuck in the price comparison of like, well, this person's charging this much an hour for their sessions or this much for their gym memberships, and I can't be more than that or too much more than that. But then you've already kind of lost
Yep.
you've missed the point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the price thing, I think you should just Mike speaks to this many times, or has spoken to this many times in previous shows, around pricing around what it's actually going to cost you to facilitate a great service that will get the result. That's the first thing. Well, how do I price my services? Well, let's make sure that you're able to do what you need to do to get someone like a wow result first and foremost. Are your costs covered? Your time, their time, bills, etc. But then after that, you can build in whatever you like, because it just comes down to how well you present it. You can sell it for whatever you want. We have people who sell crazy expensive gym services in Hollywood and wherever. Why? Because they're able to communicate to their target audience of like, hey, I know what you want. That's what I solve. That's what I do. And they just have gotten a really good rhythm down for getting people to get it. Mm-hmm. And because once someone understands it, if they have the means and that's something that's important to them, they'll figure out how to make it happen. And it's the same thing with retention. People they get excited, they sign up, maybe you've got a great sales process, but if you're not continuing to communicate value, and they continue to understand the longer game, that's why that 3 to 6 month mark, people drop out and they're like, it's just too expensive now. Wait, it wasn't too expensive 3 months ago or 6 months ago when you signed up. You were super pumped. I remember this conversation, but now you're dropping off. It's the same thing that you were saying. People just, they've lost the connection to the value itself. And so they'll lose, you drop down on the list of priorities. But if you stay as a priority because they continue to understand what this means to them now in the future, then it's priceless. It'll always be the thing they'll make happen. They're like, dude, I'll eat ramen to be, I'll start eating ramen just to keep my gym membership, rather than drop my gym membership because I'm like, oh, no, I can't go out once a month or whatever the thing is.
Totally. I think you hit on something really powerful there that I was just talking with someone about yesterday, which is using sales and marketing. I don't even want to call them tactics or techniques because it sounds so kind of manipulative. Again, this is a service you're providing and like really something that people need, but using those, I'm just going to call them techniques, to also really serve your current customers. So if you're having that, if you're having drop off and people are super pumped and then they're dropping off and not getting the results, well, whatever it is you're doing effectively on the marketing side, you need to start putting that attention on your current customers and making sure they get an experience. I was just talking with someone about this around like online programs. So many people market online programs and they do it really effectively, and then people buy them and they just drop off and don't actually do the program because there's somehow not the things built in to give them the accountability or the drive to actually do it. And so what's happening there is you're losing out on huge marketing, because the most effective marketing is word of mouth, is current customers who are getting amazing results telling their friends and telling other people. And so if you're putting all your focus on like having amazing, online, like a website or, whatever your marketing techniques are, and you're not getting incredible results and using those same strategies with your current clients to keep them engaged, then you've lost like half or more of the power of your potential marketing there.
I feel like that's only becoming more and more true as social media continues to infuse its way into the minute to minute part of our lives. Like the better your client experience is, the more people are talking and spreading the word and sharing and whatnot. It used to be like you could really focus on marketing, and then if someone had a bad experience, they told a few of their close friends, 2 or 3 people heard about it, and then they kind of disappeared, and it wasn't that big of a deal. Not compared to now, where like they could instantly tell 1,000 people, 10,000 people, 100,000 people, depending on how many people are following you. So for the first time ever, having a really good product like is itself like really, really good marketing. Whereas before it was, of course, a good thing, and the word would spread a little bit, but it was so much slower. And so what you just said is more relevant now than ever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the best service businesses out there, regardless of industry, are those that understand it's one holistic experience, that it doesn't just stop once someone signs up. It's that I'm going to continue to communicate value so that they stick around, they and that there's buzz around it. That's like, especially in the gym environment, like you were saying with social media, like if people are constantly feeling like, man, this just keeps getting better and I'm loving this, and like it's just a constantly moving thing. If there's motion, then you're going to extend the life cycle, first of all, so someone's going to stick around longer, but that person in itself becomes the marketer for you, and you can now be systematic in how you're like, okay, well then we're going to do regular testimonial videos, which I'm going to take and then I'm going to put those out, or I'm going to feature my athletes and do case studies, and all you're doing is shining a light on the inside of what's happening, rather than thinking of like, what tactics can I plug into this thing, and instead say, all right, well, why don't we just look at what we're doing here, which is totally crushing it, and then just let everyone else around them understand that. And that's really where you create that evergreen organic like flow, so you don't constantly have to pour money into more ads. It's really just get that part right, get people to talk about it and be excited about it and share that. That's it. That's already the majority of it. The rest of it is now just bring more people into that funnel, right, into that process.
Yeah, it's interesting. People have this bias toward always wanting to bring in new clients and new business and new whatever, which is powerful. But actually, like my best marketing mentors have taught me that go to your current clients, go to your past clients, go to the people they know. Like that's where you're going to have a far higher return. Even just having those conversations with your top 3 past clients or current clients, right? Those in-depth conversations. There might be an opportunity there for maybe they would be open to doing a video testimonial for you and, talking about that experience. And then you can use that in your marketing. Like there are opportunities in who you already have access to. Like if you have an email list, if you have, whatever, look there first almost. Be doing both, but like people just have this thing of like more, I need to get more clients, whatever, but like there's so much opportunity in what you already have access to.
So you can survey your audience or your client base. You can interview people. You have this kind of killer visualization exercise that we're going to share with the audience. And when someone goes through that, they're going to have some insights. When they kind of come upon those insights, practically, how do they implement what they learn?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like I said, I would record. If you're doing the visualization, I would write down. So you'll write down the pain points you saw. You'll write down the desires, you'll write down the objections, like anything that you come up with in their words, you'll write it down. So you'll end up with like, I like to do it in a Google Doc or in a Word document or whatever you like to use. You'll end up with like a scrolling document that's like pains, what keeps them up at night, and you just have bullet points, right? Mm-hmm. What they want, and you have like bullet points, objections, like different things like this, okay? So you're going to have this, and every time you do the exercise and get more clarity, you can keep editing this document. When you do the interviews and you go back through those transcripts, you're going to pull out those words and phrases and keep revising this. This becomes a living, breathing document that you should be using with anyone in your business that is helping you around marketing and sales. Everyone needs to be working in this document, continuing to make it, clearer and clearer as you understand your ideal client more. And then you can literally, like I said, pull words and phrases. So when you get into writing copy or writing emails, this is where the tools and techniques of copy and marketing come in a little bit more. It's not where you necessarily start, but it is helpful to educate yourself a little bit about like, what is the flow of a, high converting email or a website page or something like that. You're going to see quickly where these things plug into that, right? Where, like I said before, there's the pain points and like an online sales page or even in an email, have like a mini version of that. You can do, if you do get your top 3 clients to record videos, those should be being used on your website in an email campaign. Like it's all cross pollination of the different marketing stuff that you're getting here, and these living, breathing documents are going to be just like foundational to doing that effectively. Otherwise, you might hire a copywriter, you might write copy yourself, and there's a disconnect. It's like you're stuck in that thing of what you thought they might like to hear, or you know what I'm saying, versus literally pulling those words and phrases, and it's so much more powerful.
So I have a question for you. There's this concept of kind of peeling the onion. There's the surface level wants and needs that are kind of socially acceptable to say, and then there's like the deeper level, like what's really driving somebody. And so, as an example, you could put on your website like lose weight. Well, that's a surface level thing. Like a lot of people want to lose weight, but they want to lose weight for many different reasons. Maybe you say, okay, why do you want to lose weight? And they go, well, actually, the real reason is like my brother's always been like the cool brother, like the in shape brother, and everyone thinks I'm kind of like the doofy fat brother, and I kind of want to be like not the doofy fat brother anymore. And you go, okay, well, how would you know? You ask him like one
Welcome
level
to
deeper.
Doug's life.
Yeah, I want to be the cool. I'm the doofy fat brother. Yeah, and so you say, one level deeper than that, like, well, what would make somebody really understand that you're not the doofy fat brother anymore? And they go, well, really, like he's always gotten the hot chicks, and like I want to date the hot chick or something like that. You're digging levels deeper and deeper each time. So when you're writing copy, when you're putting words on paper, like you're putting on a sales page or on your website or what have you, like how do you know which level to actually type down? Like you could put lose weight and it won't really deeply connect with anybody. It'll kind of like it'll draw in a few people that want to lose weight, but you can't also put like you can, but like those deeper levels, they get more and more specific to a smaller and smaller number of person. If you say like you be the cool brother in your family, well, now there's only like a few people that are really going to connect with that specific thing. So how do you know which things to put and which things not to put? Yeah.
I think this is where it's helpful to get clear on the one ideal client and write to that person as much as possible. You're still not going to probably go that specific. Let's say that was your ideal client, who is the doofy fat brother.
Are you a doofy fat brother? Join my gym.
Dear doofy fat brother, get 6-pack abs. No,
we have a whole gym of doofy fat people.
Nailed
yeah,
it.
but if you
nailed it. It was so niche.
I'm turning up my ad spend right now.
let's see,
Okay.
if you were that person, they might not even respond to that necessarily. So I'm trying to feel
Right,
into
some people
what they
wouldn't
would
even want to admit to that. Even if that is them, they're like, well, I don't want to even say that's me.
Yeah, there are certain things that in different industries where there are topics that they're true, but you don't want to quite go that deep. So it'd be more like the confidence piece or the attracting, dating and feeling more confident in dating, or attracting, more attractive women, or
right. You don't want to say like, like I never get laid. Nobody wants to like come out and just be like, I'm the guy that never gets laid.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
have to say like, be
getting
more
laid.
confident in dating or
Well,
something like that. Like that's like
this is the
generic.
interesting thing too, is yes, people don't want to admit that, especially guys. Guys have a little bit more of that than women. Women are more
I get
apt
laid.
to sort of, open their hearts and reveal
Totally
their
get
kind of souls and their deepest, darkest pains. Guys have a little bit more of a like, I want to look good and macho and whatever. So
Sure.
if we're talking online marketing, there you can go a little deeper than you can in maybe in person or something like that, unless you're one-on-one with someone, because people sitting there by themselves on their computers, nobody else around, are more likely to resonate with certain things. But I still wouldn't go quite that far. It'd be more in that sense, like you haven't been feeling so confident with dating, or you used to be more, whatever. You want to attract more attractive women, or so you can touch on. You have to kind of play with it and see like what what level to go to. But again, I think putting yourself in their shoes, I'm just going to keep repeating this over and over again, as like frustrating as that can be sometimes, is, you know, if you write that copy, you write a bullet point or something that's a benefit bullet point. If you wrote, let's say, you know, you're gonna, or let's say the pain point was you're not getting laid enough, right? So you write that bullet point as a pain point, and then
I'm coming up with a pop.
I'm laughing my ass off over here with all these ideas.
I got like a product. Like I was like, I would never put out a dating product. Now I'm like, man, I can.
Are
put
you
a
tired of dating
product.
a 2? Would you rather date a 10?
So you put yourself in their shoes, though, and imagine you're the doofy fat brother, and this is just getting
I'm pretending.
ridiculous.
This is
Just pretending.
this is how Makena's gonna see Doug from now on.
Do you like hot chicks and fast cars? Click here.
So imagine that. Imagine you read that bullet point, or you read that piece of copy, and you were like, does that make you like feel inspired to take the action? Or are you kind of like, well, that's kind of weird? Or what's the reaction you actually have being that person? So again, I wish there was like an easier one size fits all kind of blanket answer to this, but it's really a matter of kind of experimenting and playing with, okay, what are those deeper level pains or challenges they're going through? You know, you write something and then you go pretend you're them, read the copy and go, no, that like this needs to be adjusted, or that's going too deep in that direction or something like that. So you kind of have to just experiment with it. Yeah. And test. I mean, test your marketing. That's the other thing. We're not getting too much into like strategy here in terms of like techniques and so forth, but you can test out, you know, 2 different versions. There's split testing software, for example. I don't want to go too techie here, but like you can get an A/B split test, which is like there's software that will allow you to have some people that go to that site will see one version of a page and other people will see another version of the page. And so you can test different headlines. You can test, you know, short versus long copy. You can test having a video or no video, and you don't want to go too crazy with this. But it can be a way to play around with and optimize. You can also just test over time. So you could have, you know, some copy on there and watch your metrics, have Google Analytics installed if we're talking about online, and then see how it performs for a certain period of time and then test with something different, right? It's not as reliable, but you can do it that way. Taking it offline, you can do the same thing in person with people. I actually talk about this with like the elevator pitch idea, right? When people talk about like have your one-liner that's, you know, connects with people and makes them curious to work with you. You can almost split test or test elevator pitches. So what you do is you try one with someone you meet at a networking something, or, you know, out on wherever you're going, and you say the elevator pitch and you just watch their reaction. And if they like immediately get curious and start asking you questions like, oh, you've just like try it a couple more times and see how it goes over. And then if you're not really getting reaction, maybe you could tweak it, try it a little bit differently next time. So you can do these online marketing things came from in person first, right? You can split test to some degree in person as well.
Yeah. Do you know of any really good copywriting resources for someone that just wants like a, you know, copywriting 101? What are the basics?
Oh, I'm so bad at this question. The way I learned, I'm pretty self-taught. So the way I learned was by looking at what are the high converting, you know, who do I know that is it'd be best if it's in your industry. So if you know of someone that's in the fitness industry, I mean, you guys could be an example. People could literally go look at what you guys are doing in terms of, you know, copy, in terms of marketing strategy. Now, you never want to copy. You never want to, you know, plagiarize in any way what people are doing. But what you can do is study the structure, like get out of just absorbing the copy or absorbing the, you know, the content, and study what is it they're doing here. Like if I look at the sales page, what's the structure? Like, why am I so compelled by this? You can do this in any industry. Like I like to be an observer of myself. And whenever I see something online and I'm like, oh, I need that or I want that, I go, wait, what's happening here? Like what is it about this that so spoke to me? And so I'm really self-taught in this way. You can go online. There's tons of copywriting experts. I don't really subscribe to one in particular. So I think it's just a matter of doing a little research and seeing what resonates for you. And, you know, you don't need that many tools. You could do one program or one, you know, something and learn kind of the basics and use those. I wouldn't go like overwhelm yourself with like tons of marketing and strategy and copy techniques, because what happens is, again, people get too like in their own minds and out of the thing, which is speak to your customer. The grammar doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, it depends on your brand. Like as a company, probably want it to be a little more like on point. But your ideal customer, most, gyms, I don't think their ideal customer is going to be like, oh, that comma's in the wrong place, so I'm not going to, like you can bend the rules when it comes to copy, speak conversationally, like make it like you're talking to your friend or your bro that would come in and train with you. So don't be afraid to do that as well. So I'd say studying what other people are doing that are getting results and are effective, like just looking at the structure of that and kind of, emulating that in some way without ever copying. And then, there's definitely programs and things like that online if you want to go further. I have an opt-in on my website, which is like 10 copy tips that can help you just sort of, they're little bullet points, little check marks to just, you write the copy and then you go back over it and go, am I hitting all these different points? So there's lots of resources out there, but don't get too caught up in the techniques. Don't get too overwhelmed. Speak conversationally, speak to your one ideal client, understand where they're coming from. Those are the most important things.
And if you don't want to write any copy, we'll do it for you. So.
Yeah, or that. Very good. So where can people find you and find more information about you?
Onlinemarketingwithheart.com. Onlinemarketingwithheart.com. Yeah.
Any social media that people should be following?
I'm not huge on social media. You can follow me on Facebook. I do Facebook Lives and things like that from time to time. I blend a little bit. I'm in both worlds, the online marketing and the personal development world. So a lot of my content and stuff that I put out there is a little bit more on the personal development side. But you can always reach out to me, Makena at onlinemarketingwithheart.com, Makena, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Yeah, and we're going to put a downloadable audio of you leading people through a visualization. Where are we going to put that? This will be on the blog, barbellbusiness.com.
Yeah.
I
Got me off guard.
I don't even know. I forgot what episode we're on. So, if you go there, there's two ways you'll be able to find the exercise. One will be if you find the blog, the podcast episode, and you click that, there'll be a link in there. But also, if you just go to barbellbusiness.com and click on the resources tab, we have every basically thing that we've ever talked about listed there that you could download. So
it'll be there.
It'll be there. It'll be very obvious. Click that, and it'll take you right there.
Yeah, perfect. Find it there. Free resources at barbellbusiness.com, and you'll find it.
Yeah, awesome.
Cool.
Thanks for joining us, McKenna.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thanks.
McKenna.